Hello, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Heart Centered Life live broadcast. And we have here with us today um, Mark Kumar, a lifestyle entrepreneur, who is going to talk to us today about the about creating valuable digital assets for the economy that will emerge post COVID-19. So, welcome, Mark. We are glad to have you.
Glad to be here. I'm so excited for this interview. I know we're going to have a great time. I'm really, really eager to share a lot of valuable information that your listeners can actually use and create some really amazing stuff.
Okay, great. So,
Awesome.
why don't we start by having you tell us what a lifestyle entrepreneur is?
In a very short version of a lifestyle entrepreneur is somebody who actually helps people solve their problem faster. That's it. Whether you
Mhm.
could be a health fitness person or you could be somebody who's in the marketing field, doesn't really matter. Any as long as you are able to help someone solve their problem that they're
Mhm.
having, then that's what I consider a lifestyle entrepreneur. That's what I call it.
Yeah. And what kind of problems do you primarily help people solve?
Right. The problems that I help people solve is how can someone, especially in the epidemic world that we are living in right now, is the whole COVID-19, where how can someone start their online business and then still be able to pay their bills, make an income, take care of their family, their loved ones, or whatever the case might be. That's what I try to do that. And how do I let them do that is by creating what I call as a digital assets, whether it'll be a digital product or online
Mm.
service, whether it be a membership site or things in that nature. That's what I help people how they can do that in this particular economy and day and age that we are currently in.
Yeah. How do you think the economy has changed since the pandemic happened, and how
It
do you
is
see?
it's
Yeah.
extremely sad because
Yeah.
I feel like that a lot of people who thought their jobs were secure, they're finding out that they're not secure
Mm.
simply because they were like not people who were going to 9 to 5, going to one specific office, and that's that. And because of this epidemic, they're finding out like they can't go to the office. I know a lot of people who have lost their jobs and they are like struggling to pay the bills, more importantly struggling to put food on the table for their family, which is extremely sad. Even though we live in the United States, there might be another part of the world where people, the government, who are not helping them, then like they don't know what to do. Like, what do I
Yeah.
do? Like, this is extremely sad. So
Yeah.
my heart goes out to them, but unfortunately the path that they had thought that was secure before, now they're
Mhm.
realizing it's not so secure like at all. So hopefully that would be
Yeah.
a wake-up call for them to say, hey, I may be facing this right now, but if this thing or something similar to that come again, I don't want to have put myself in a position where I have to go through this again. So that's what I
Mhm.
think.
So, how do you think people can actually gain some kind of security with digital assets going forward?
What they can do is, first of all, like think of it like a digital asset, like where if you can give somebody advice that will help them solve their problem. Like one of the thing that I could think of, like so for example, I used to run a photography business where I was teaching other people how to do photography and all that stuff. And then one day I decided like, hey, I'm gonna do a webinar where I just get on a computer and other people jump on it and they can watch my screen as I show them different aspects of running a photography business. So that's one tool where you can run it, create your digital asset. You ask other people like, hey, what problems do you have? How can I solve them? So going back to my photography business, that one of the main problems that we're having were like, I don't know how I can edit pictures in a very short period of time. So one of the questions were like, hey, I'm spending like good 8 hours to edit my wedding pictures. So there was like 50 or plus people who were got on this webinar. It was a paid webinar. And then I showed them how they can cut down their time from 8 hours to 1 hour.
Mhm.
During that time, I showed them that, and then they were like, "Wow!" And then that's how you can do that. That's one of the avenue you could take, like create a webinar. And there are plenty of services out there. We can go in more detail as we go through the process of this for this podcast. And then I'll share more of the detailed services, products that you can utilize. And like, hey, you could do this.
Yeah, we definitely want to talk about how to run webinars. But while you are on the topic of providing advice to people who have problems that you can solve, it sounds as if for people listening in who's interested in this, it's a matter of being able to identify what your skills are, and then having to be able to then see how that those skills can actually solve specific problems that people have. Correct?
Correct, absolutely. Like
Yeah.
one of the greatest thing I can tell you is like, no matter where you are in the world, is like the education system. Like you go to school, obviously everybody needs to go to school, learn about like ABC, how to make a paragraph, how they can
Mm.
write an essay, so on and so forth. But if you look at the education system as a business plan, what are they doing? They're literally sharing their advice, which they have accumulated throughout the years, and they're telling the kids how to do that. If you take the
Mhm.
same concept, if you know something that so well, if somebody wakes you up in the middle of the night and asks you like, hey, can you help me with X, Y, and Z? And
Mhm.
without even you thinking about it, you be like, hey, if you do this, then you could solve that problem. If that is something you know, then this is something that you should create a digital product or sell other people. That's one of the things. So make sure you have a skill that you are extremely, extremely good at. The good rule of thumb would be that, okay, if I wake you up in the middle of the night and I ask you, how do I do X, Y, and Z based on your skill level that you have? And if you could tell me that, that's the skill you want to go and market that.
I love that. Because with so many people staying at home and having all the shelter in place orders and all that, I'm thinking off the top of my head that a lot of people do not have access to the servicemen who will come in and, like, change your light bulb, or fix your refrigerator or the washing machine. And
Right,
a lot of people who are DIY experts, or people who do a lot of DIY work at home,
right.
that would be a great opportunity to do like a webinar on how to troubleshoot your dishwasher, right?
Exactly, right. And then if it's speaking of which, the dishwashers, right? At least when we live in America, I'm sure in the other part of the country they have the same concept. If you want to do a DIY how to fix your dishwasher, there are in Home Depot, Lowe's, or even
Yeah,
Walmart. You can go and buy a book. Basically, it's a device business. You
yeah,
read a book, you follow the pictures, and you go do it.
yeah.
The good thing about the digital world is you don't have to go to Home Depot, get online, and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
You can go to the specific URL, watch the video while the guy is doing it, and then you could solve your problem of washing or fixing your dishwasher or your
Yeah,
gas or plumbing or whatever the case might be, or building a house. Now people can literally learn how to build a house. That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, and I think the good thing about digital assets or having this done on a webinar as opposed to a book is that you can answer questions in real time, correct?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and that's like one of the benefit part. Some people create like the webinar is one of the options that you have where you can go
Hmm.
on live and then have a this conversation with somebody who was like think of it this way. So you have a digital uh, platform, which is your classroom. Webinar is one platform where
Yeah.
you can go in there and we have 50 people in the student, like you are listening to what you're doing, and then you open up to Q&A where anyone can ask any question and you get your answers to those questions right away. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things, right? And another one aspect, which also is the digital services, which is your one-on-one coaching. Let's
Yeah.
say you run the webinar, you have 50 people who pays you, I don't know, let's say $50 just for the sake of argument, right? And then during that webinar time, they have a specific question that you ask them, like, hey, if you have more questions, I offer this one-on-one session where you can have unlimited time or an hour's worth of my time once a week, and then I'll be able to help you any questions that you have more specific to you rather than just
Yeah.
general question that you want to answer just so everybody can answer it as well.
I like that one-on-one. consultation. So back to the dishwashing example, dishwasher example.
Ex-
It's also for I mean conceivable that you could have someone with DIY skills who can say, "Well, I'll meet with you one on one, and even though I won't come to your house to fix your dishwasher, I can look at the dishwasher through your phone,
exactly,
or
exactly.
and tell you exactly what to do, right? How to troubleshoot."
Exactly.
Yeah,
So that it's like a world of possibility, but some people don't think about it. Like there's a what I call a syndrome, whatever. I am not good enough, even though you may
mm,
know a lot more. The person who is a guru, which is like this level, and you
yeah,
think you're here, but you know a lot more. But if you get out of your own self, you will start to realize what you know people appreciate a lot more and they
yeah,
are willing to pay you for it, which is like,
yeah.
wow.
I love it. I love it. So it's a matter of identifying what skills you have, and then trying to see who in the market knows those skills or needs those skills and are willing to pay for those skills.
Correct. And then
Yeah,
greatest way I can tell you how you can validate whether your skills or whatever you know is worth somebody else is going to pay for it. So number one step will be for you to find out whatever your skill level is, right? Whatever that case will be, whether it would be a fitness
yeah,
trainer, whether it will be a Photoshop expert, photographer, or web developer, it doesn't matter, whatever that is, a lawyer for that matter, it doesn't really matter. And then number two will be you go onto this platform called Facebook, and then you join some of the Facebook groups basically based on whatever industry or knowledge that you know, and you read whatever questions that people are answering it, and then you answer those
okay.
questions, and
So I have
then
it down here. Know your skill, join an online group.
exactly. And then you join your online group, whether it be a Facebook, there's a Reddit, and there's a whole bunch of them. But the fastest and the most easiest is the Facebook groups. You go in there, you join them, and
Okay.
then you answer, read some of the question, then you answer the question based on your knowledge.
Hmm.
Then when somebody's read them and they will be like more than likely, hey, thank you so much for helping me with this problem. And you'll say, hey, if you need any further help, message me. And then
Yeah.
when they message you, then you go like, hey, I'm gonna give you more information based on whatever you need. And then like, hey, if you appreciate it, I have this one-on-one side business kind of thing. So that's how you lead them in. So if there's like, hey, I'll pay you, let's just say for giggles, if they pay you $20 for whatever 30 minutes worth of time, that validates you for your idea that it is a viable product that people are willing to pay for it.
Hmm.
And then you can go into the next process where you're like creating your online digital product and services, so on and so forth. But the fastest way to is know your skills, join the Facebook groups, answer questions, and see if people are willing to listen to what advice you give them.
Okay. Um, and I have here, um, so the number five would be create a digital product.
Correct.
But I have here join an online group. And I know that you mentioned Facebook, but I think that um, I've kept it a little bit more general because there are people with skills that might be that might appeal more to people on LinkedIn, for example, maybe, right?
Right.
So like,
There's a
yeah,
variety of different things. I'm just
yeah,
trying to give you a blueprint, the
yeah,
process, skills, online platform,
yeah,
answer question, and
yeah,
then response.
of
Whether
yeah,
it'll be
of
a
a direct
Facebook,
help.
LinkedIn, or any other platform, even like what they
Hmm.
call the forums. You can go to the forums, same concept.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So back to the idea about having webinars. Can you talk a little bit about some of the platforms that people can explore?
Webinar is like a real now, at least nowadays, is so
Uh-huh.
easy to do. As long as you have an audience, you can literally go to your Facebook lives or
Okay.
YouTube lives, or if you don't want to use those platforms are free. And then there's
Hmm.
also a platform called Zoom.
Yep.
Zoom is ZOOM.us. You can
Hmm.
go there and they have the option where you can do a webinar from that point of view. If not, then it's obviously go to webinar, and then
Hmm.
there's what is it? A webcast. It's just a whole bunch of other ones, but the technology is not as important as
Yep.
compared to building your audiences. And then
Yep.
the way do you build your audience is like you go and help other people. Number one. Number two, ask them to have their contact information that you save somewhere, whether it will be in your Google Excel sheet, or if you want to take a like one step further to automate it, have them opt into your email list. Now, going to your email list, there's a whole bunch of platforms out there. One of them is the most important or the most what's one of a famous one is your Aweber, then you got the Infusionsoft, you have your MailChimp, their MailerLite, ConvertKit. It's like a whole bunch of them. You could try any one of those and then go to their platform, set up a what's it called, an opt-in form. What the opt-in form is basically you ask for the email, you ask for their name, and then they become part of your database. And once they're part of your database, so you want to grow them. So let's say day one, Monday morning, you go in there and you ask questions, let's say 10 different questions. Out of the 10 different questions, 5 people opt in, go into your database on your email list right here. And then you do that for 5 days. So 5 days a week, and you have 5 people joining every single day. So that's 25 people. There are potential who are going to buy something from you. And once you have the 25 people, then you send an email out once and then say, hey, I'm running this webinar. And then you insert the URL, whether it'll be a GoToWebinar, Facebook Live, YouTube video, it doesn't really matter. That's just a platform. So don't get hung up on what platform do I need to. Technology is not as important, but the important part is you building trust with your audiences, your visitors, your listeners, whoever that audience is. As long as they trust you, they will go wherever you want them to go. And they will give you money once they trust you. And
How do you build trust? What is the most important component about building trust with an online audience?
my up until now, what I discovered, my secret is the most important thing is you give value, meaning you help people out without having any kind of intention, them giving you money at first. Whatever question they have, you answer it and you ask for nothing. And then if you could do that 3 different times, that is automatically human nature. They will trust you.
Yeah.
Like think of it this way, like let's say if you go on a date, the very first date, the girl or boy, they're not going to trust each other because they don't know each other, right? And then the second date, they may have a little bit of a trust, and third date, you're like, I have a little more trust in you. So it's the same concept. It's like you go on a date with your audience. The first time, they don't know you, so they get to know you by you asking them questions. They ask you a question, you answer it, you ask for nothing. And second time around, and then you're like, hey, let's go check out this restaurant, go on another date, kind of thing.
Yeah. So I think a lot of our audiences, people tuning in, could be lawyers. Most of them are lawyers because of my background.
Okay.
How would you suggest that a lawyer build trust with an online audience? Because from what I've heard, a lot of law firms are actually even downsizing.
Right.
And they are minimizing their office space. Maybe have more people work at home, and meet with clients if they really have to in a conference room that's rented. So a lot more engagement is going to happen online. How would you suggest lawyers build trust?
So can we get a little more specific? Like let's pick a within the lawyer industry, right? There's like a
Let's just
vast
say,
variety of it. So just give
yes.
it specific so I can help you more.
Let's just say a personal injury lawyer.
Personal injury lawyer.
Yeah, who
So what you can do is a personal injury lawyer. What would be the top thing on the personal injury lawyer that deals with it all the time? So top 3 things. What would that be?
do I have a good case? Will I get damages? And will I be able to sue? Do I have a case? Will I be able to claim damages? And how strong is the other party's case?
Okay, that's great. So one common thing as a personal injury lawyer, as a client, what do they always come to you? Let's just say you as an example for now. What do they always come to you and say, hey, I have this problem as a personal injury lawyer? What would the one common denominator across the board? That we say,
Do I have
I
a
see it
case?
all the time.
Do I have a case?
Do you have a question? Okay. So that would be you looking at it as like, hey, I'm a lawyer. Do I have a case, right? So, but as a person, like for example, if I got hurt, I'm looking for a lawyer. What questions would I need answers to?
Mm.
Like, hey, I hurt my leg, my arm,
Yeah.
whatever the case might be, right? So
Right.
what
Will
you
I be able
can
to get money from? Yeah.
Right, exactly. So what you can do is you could run a Facebook ad or a LinkedIn ad that say, "Hey, have you been hurt on a job?" Simple as that. Yes or no. And then you go to your opt-in page, going back to the whole email thing, right? And then once they opted in, then you're like, "Hey, what caused or what happened to your job that you got hurt?" And then you customize it from that point on. So it's like you getting an audience, the same concept. You build trust by asking questions, that you add value. If you got hurt at a job, you do X, Y, and Z. These are the things, and then if you need further, then you move them down further to the what's called a sales funnel kind of thing. The first thing is like, hey, how you doing? My name is Mark, and I'm here to help you. And number two would be like, hey, what problems do you have? And number
Mm-hmm.
three would be like, solution. And number four, like if you have further questions, get in touch with me. So that's where you can have this one-on-one conversation. For lawyers in this case, you obviously need to have one-on-one conversation because I
Mm-hmm.
think it will be beneficial rather than creating a training video kind of thing. So that's it. That in that aspect, it will be a digital service rather than digital asset, like
Mm-hmm.
downloadable or video kind of thing. So once
Yeah.
you get on the phone with them, then you can business as usual.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think that a lot more professional services would move to an online business where there's more emphasis on digital assets than there was before?
Absolutely, I would think so, right? Because human nature is human nature. People still gonna do silly stuff, I guess. They're still gonna get hurt, and then
Mm.
still gonna do silly stuff, whatever. So yeah, and they're definitely. I strongly feel there are
Mhm.
gonna be more spike in the digital world now,
Mm.
especially nowadays.
Mhm.
Where everything is crucial because a lot of people are spending countless numbers of time and I
Yeah.
mean hours at home, especially Netflix. Their stock is going to go high because a lot of people are holding Netflix and watching TV and they have nothing else to do. So
Yeah.
YouTube video, Netflix, Facebook lives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So right now is probably the most crucial time and the most easiest way to get clients right now, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Before this whole pandemic erupted, we were already in a digital age where, millions of people, if not billions of people, are already online.
Yep.
How is that? How can we possibly be more digital than we already were before?
I think before people didn't realize how important the
Mm,
digital aspect of the world was, and
mm,
now they're realizing because they're cooped up at home. Before it was like it was an option. I could do it, but I don't have to. But now it's
mhm.
like I have nothing but time, and don't have money to pay my bills. I don't have any way to put food on my table for my family, my loved ones. Now it's like they're gonna have to figure this thing out, and they
Yeah.
can't do physically anything from home in terms of like a physical world. But everybody that I know of, they're tuning into the digital world, like, hey, how can I make money online? Before it was kind of like a scammy thing, like, hey, how do I make money online? It's a scam. It's like it's a scam. But now people like, if you think about it, you buy every single thing online. You want to order a grocery, you go online. You want to pay for your product, Amazon. You want to buy a book, you want to watch a movie, you want to whatever. It's everything is computerized. So why not?
I love it. Yeah. It used to be, I think, that because I'm in academia, it used to be that people kind of looked down on online courses,
Right,
They thought, yeah, big part of the university, that's where the real education happens.
right.
But now with everything that just exploded in the face of academia the vast majority, if not all the universities in the US has moved to online instruction.
Oh yeah. I mean, throughout the
The
whole world, everybody's using online
Yeah.
platform to learn. Even like for kids from
Mm,
like first grade to like college level.
yes.
You know.
Yeah. It yeah, it's no longer scammy, right? It's no longer something that you would look down upon. It's a necessity now. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. So that and
Yeah.
once we are done with this COVID-19 thing, people are gonna be more acceptable to say, "Hey, I'm okay to spend money online," as
I
compared
love
to
it.
there was, like.
Yeah, I love it. So there we go, right? to be successful and to move into the economy that's going to up come about after this pandemic,
Yes.
there may be a need to develop more digital assets for yourself,
Yep.
building on your skills, um, building an audience, building connection with the audience and having the audience trust you, and then offering services that solve their particular problems.
Correct.
That's the way to go.
Yep, that's the way to go. I mean, we think about it as the same thing that we used to do it before. Now we can just
Yeah.
do it online a lot faster, and we can automate the whole thing.
I love it. I love it.
So
So
yeah,
for people in our audience who want to reach out to you, this would be the best
that will be the best website. Just go
way.
to markkumar.com, and then
Mhm.
also for your audience only, I have the special URL in which they can get the free gift, which is
Okay.
markkumar.com/gift.
Okay.
They can go in
Mark.
there. They can get
Mark.
the special gifts just for your audiences that I truly feel is going to help them.
Special gift. Can you talk a little bit more about what that special gift is?
What that special gift is people who are actually it's just a gift, not special gift, just GIFT.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, just a gift. And
Let
then what
me
that will do is
edit that.
people who are entrepreneurs or business owners, they may need help in marketing. They may need help in how to build a website. They may need help in how they can create a digital product, things of that nature. If they go to
Mhm.
that URL, they will be able to get that.
Okay, so this is the right one.
Yep, that's the one.
Okay. All right. So,
Awesome.
Mark, thank you so much for spending your morning with us. We really appreciate your comments and advice and suggestions on how to move on, transition into the economy that's going to emerge or is emerging right
Right,
now,
right,
post COVID-19, with COVID-19.
right.
So, so thank you for your time and we really appreciate all your
Yeah, thank,
advice.
thank you so much for having me. It was a blast being here and helping your audience out. I truly feel like if there is anything I can do to help anybody listen to it, just make sure you go to markkumar.com, or if you want to get your gift, which is markkumar.com/gift. And thank you for allowing me to be on your show and being talking to your audiences. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Mark.
All right. Take care.